We have a gavel now. Yeah. Welcome everyone to the May 2024 URA regular board meeting. Want the record to reflect that all board members are present and accounted for, with Director Connolly joining us remotely. Our first order of business is approval of the April 11th, 2024 URA regular board meeting minutes. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? The motion carries. I do also want to note for the record that the URA board met an executive session immediately before this meeting on May 9th and also last Friday, May 3rd. The purpose of the Friday executive session was for briefing purposes only for today's meeting. We'll be moving now into public comment. I do believe we have one registered speaker.
Yes, as Chairman Chichalabi stated, we will move into the public comment portion of our board meeting. As a reminder, the public comment period opens on Monday at 11, the week of the board meeting on our website, and closes at 11 a.m. on the day of the board meeting. Members of the public are welcome to provide comment here in person, virtually through the Zoom webinar, or by providing a written comment. All comments submitted in written form or provided during the board meeting will become part of the minutes and meeting record for today's board meeting. Each person providing in-person or virtual comment to the board will receive 3 minutes to speak. I'll facilitate with a timer and gently remind when the 3 minutes is close to ending. If you are registered to provide comment virtually, our staff will unmute your microphone via Zoom so you can provide comment. There'll be a brief pause between when I say your name and when our staff can locate your username and unmute you. So thank you so much. Our first registered public commenter is Anthony Dolan. So once you're unmuted, I'll start the timer.
You good?
Great.
All right. I appreciate your time here. I'm simply here to speak on behalf of the Parklet project, the hotel that's going to be between Hotel Indigo and the building on the other side of that in East Liberty, on basically along Broad Street and North Highland. I understand that you guys are at the construction bidding phase, and I represent 5 property owners, of which I'm the managing partner of them, all within the East Liberty Business District. And one of them is 211 Tower, which directly faces this this area that will be redeveloped. Do you have any questions for me?
No, thank you for your comment.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Our next speaker is Lori Moran, who is here joining us in person. Lori, please be reminded you have 3 minutes.
I won't need 3 minutes, but thanks, Sheila. So I just really wanted to say thank you. I'm Lori Moran. I'm with the East Liberty Chamber of Commerce. We've been also in real estate in that market area for about 30 some years. And I wanted to just thank the URA for everything you've done in that market area. You've been a great partner all over the city, but certainly our experience has been in East Liberty, and especially with this plaza, which we're really excited about. We thank you because it's been a long time in the making, and you guys didn't drop it. You kept the ball going, and it's almost across finish line. And I just want to say thank you so much. It's going to have a huge impact on that market area, and we really appreciate it and everything else you do.
Those are all the registered speakers. Thanks.
Thank you, Director. Moving into announcements. Our first announcement is for the 62nd Street site. And am I turning it over to? Turn it over to Lily Friedman.
Hey everyone, good afternoon. My name is Lily Friedman, and I'm the Manager of Development Projects in the URA's Development Services Department. Today, I'm excited to return to the board to share progress on the 62nd Street site in the Upper Lawrenceville neighborhood of the city of Pittsburgh. It's a 14.2 acre brownfield property, which we have owned and operated and maintained since 2008. As you may remember, the URA issued a request for proposals, or RFP, for the site back in November of 2023. As a result of the RFP process and with input from the RFP review committee comprising of community stakeholders and URA staff, we are happy to announce today that the URA plans to issue a hold for market for the 62nd Street site to allow Golden East investors and the URA the opportunity to engage in collective good faith discussions with particular attention to community benefits considerations and continued due diligence toward a potential redevelopment proposal. Assuming progress continues, the URA board would have the opportunity to vote on this project at 2 future board meetings prior to a property sale, including the opportunity to accept a full redevelopment proposal. The hold for market will last for 90 days with the option to extend at the discretion of the URA. Golden East Investors concept currently includes $20 million of investment, remediation of the 14.2 acre site, 200,000 square feet of warehouse light industrial flex space, a public parklet, public parking lot, 15,000 square feet of community space. We're looking forward to continue to working with the Community Review Committee to build out how this community-centered space can best align with neighborhood visioning for the site during this hold for market period. Today we have Jake Mancher and Francesca Dumais. They've joined us to share a few remarks. After those remarks, we would be happy to consider questions or comments from the board. Thank you.
Hi, Jake Mancher. Pleasure to meet everyone. So a little about us. We're very happy to be here. Very happy for you guys to give us the opportunity to work with the community and the URA to develop the site. We've been working on it for the last few months extensively with Francesca here. And we've been part of this community for the last 10 years. We recently acquired the Heinz factory in the North Shore, one of the 2 big smokestacks. It's a 1 million square foot redevelopment that we're working on, also with the community. And in general, our plan for the site is to hopefully move a lot of the industrial and manufacturing on the west side of Lawrenceville to this location to free up some more space on the west side and concentrate the manufacturing on the east side. And from our experience with what we're doing on the North Shore, we've developed the business plan that we put forward to the URA. And we've also taken into consideration some of the community's thoughts and desires when it comes to a community facility, a public open space, and access to the riverfront. So we look forward to working with the URA and the community to hopefully redevelop and continue developing the site.
We can take any questions from the board at this time or comments. Thank you.
Thank you both. Any questions, comments from board members? Representative Top.
I just want to say thank you again for the team, the review team that the URA amassed. I know we have talked about this site quite a lot and appreciate your intentionality around it, and the conversations will continue. So thank you, Lily, and your team. And thank you for being a part of the work.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Our next announcement is the Q1 2024 quarterly impact report, and John Bonello is joining us for this one.
Good afternoon. My name is John Bonello. I'm a senior data and evaluation specialist in the Strategic Data and Impact Unit, and I'm back with another quarterly impact report for the first quarter of 2024. As you may know, SD&I spends the first 6 weeks of each quarter collecting and analyzing the outputs from the previous quarter to report our progress towards our strategic goals. On your screen are some highlights from the Q1 impact report that I'd like to share with you. 32 businesses connected to technical assistance through the URA and its affiliates. 469 individuals were able to stay in their homes through either housing crisis prevention programs or housing-related legal assistance provided by the Housing Opportunity Fund. 32 individuals were assisted with achieving home ownership through the HOF down payment and closing cost assistance program. 222 units of affordable housing were created or preserved with assistance through our residential and consumer lending programs. 30 small business loans were closed between the URA and its affiliates worth over $1.77 million. 20 of those loans were emergency grants available to current Invest PGH borrowers experiencing business emergencies. These borrowers were able to access up to $5,000 in working capital within 2 weeks, allowing them to avoid predatory high interest loans. Roughly $277,000 were dispersed to businesses maintaining vacant lots and to support neighborhood projects. The full report is now live on the impact page of the website and shows more of the great work that was done by the URA in our first quarter. We encourage anyone who's interested in taking a closer look at some of these metrics to go to the impact section of the website listed under the About Us heading. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Any questions or comments from board members? Council President.
One quick comment, just sort of noting that 32 new homeowners, some of the resources we have that go to these sort of opportunities will be fading away. And so to our wonderful banking partners out there, this will be an opportunity for them to also assist us to be able to continue doing this good work if they were to put an infusion of resources into our coffers.
Well said. I don't have any question, John, but it does feel like you were just with us. So thank you for pulling this. I know it was for the annual report to walk us through that. But thanks again for your work on this. I say it every quarter, but I know it isn't easy to pull all that information together from various sources. So kudos for herding those cats into your colleagues who I know provide that information to you. So thanks for that. It's always impressive to see.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Our next announcement is a request for proposal for auditing services. And I'm going to turn it over to our CFO, DeMar Carter, please.
Thank you. The URA will be going out for auditing, RFP for auditing services for our main audit and all other audits. It will be available starting May 31st. And it will be, the round will open for hopefully until July 10th. I'm sorry. So July 10th. So you can request, we'll send some out and we'll also do it on Ion Wave. Thanks.
Thanks, Chief Carter. Any questions or comments from board members? Just one quick one. Is the intention on this to arrive at sort of one firm or similar to how we did legal services? Are we looking to do a slate on this?
We'll probably look for one firm for
Okay.
our main audit, but then for all the state audits that we handle, we can always have a slate.
Thank you. Our next announcement is the request for proposals for Broad Street Plaza construction. And I'm turning it over, sorry, to Gordon Hall for this.
Good afternoon, board. My name is Gordon Hall, and I'm a project manager with Development Services. I have the pleasure of announcing the release of a request for proposals for Broad Street Plaza. We will be releasing the RFP in June 2024 on our public bidding platform, Ion Wave Technologies. The URA is seeking a general contractor for construction services to renovate the plaza at the corner of Broad Street and Highland Avenue. The renovations will turn an underutilized site into an activated and open public gathering space that can accommodate community programming and improve connectivity throughout the neighborhood. For a bit of historical context, Broad Street Plaza, or originally known as Highland Plaza, is one of the last remnants of what was once an extensive East Liberty pedestrian mall built in the 1960s. With the pedestrian mall now gone, Broad Street Plaza lacks the broader context that its original design depended on. The current layout of the plaza, with multi-tiered planting boxes and a large blocked-off asphalt parking area, feels fragmented. Sightlines and travel pathways to adjacent retailers are blocked, and the site is underutilized. The objectives of the new designs are to create an improved and safe public space for East Liberty with trees and landscaping, provide programmable and flexible space for multiple types of events, both big and small, create a more pedestrian-friendly space, and calm traffic between businesses in the Kirkwood Building and Hotel Indigo, provide visual sightlines across the plaza, provide permanent seating in the sun and in the shade, as well as flexible seating that's easy to rearrange, and lastly, to integrate sustainable stormwater management systems. I want to take a moment to give special thanks to Clavon Designs and Associates, who have worked on Broad Street Plaza with the URA since 2018. Their patience, professionalism, and receptiveness to the community's wishes and feedback are reflected in these designs. Finally, I want to thank my colleagues in the QC&I department. Their technical expertise and guidance are critical to making this public space improvement in East Liberty a reality. With that, I will pause for any questions and comments.
Thank you, Gordon. Any questions, comments from board members? Director Williamson.
Just a quick question. Also, this is exciting to see this actually moving forward. There might someday be a day when the two-way conversion and this project are both be incredible. But can you remind us who's going to maintain this space after the work is done?
Yes, that's a great question. So the URA is currently working with the Department of Public Works as well as the mayor's office and city law to execute a cooperation agreement that will spell out both the maintenance and permanent ownership of this plaza. So the URA will manage the construction phase of the project. Once that is done, we will review it with the Department of Public Works staff. Once it is both decided that the work is completed and it's up to standards, then the transfer to the city will take place. So to answer your question, in short, the city will ultimately own and maintain this space on a permanent basis.
It's a good question.
It is a good question.
And one that, yeah, I want to commend all of the folks that Gordon just named in working on that, really taking lessons learned from previous, instances where the authority and from the city standpoint, others have built infrastructure that then to do that conveyance, or acceptance when from the city standpoint of it back gets dragged out for a while, and to just be thoughtful in how we solve some of those problems up front. So really on the URA side and the city side, the willingness to kind of roll up their sleeves and daylight those issues and those lessons that we've learned on the front end. I was, really encouraged by the solutions that everyone came up to. So, appreciate the work that's been done on that. You said it, Gordon, but I'd also like to thank, everyone who's worked on this, in the community and the businesses, to the folks we heard give public comment for their patience, for how long this has taken to get to this point. So, kudos to you and your colleagues for getting it to this point and over the finish line. So thank you.
Thank you.
Our next announcement is the Housing Opportunity Fund 2025 Annual Allocation Plan Community Survey launch. And Eric is joining us for this.
Good afternoon, members of the URA Board. My name is Eric Bernheimer, and I'm the Housing Administration and Outreach Coordinator. I'm here to talk about the Housing Opportunity Fund Annual Allocation Plan Survey. The Housing Opportunity Fund, also known as HOF, is a $10 million per year endowment from the city to create and support affordable housing in Pittsburgh. HOF is overseen by the HOF Advisory Board, and we, the URA, administer its programs. Now, onto the survey. The annual allocation plan survey last week and is a yearly survey we conduct to gain valuable feedback and suggestions from the community on our programs. This helps us keep in step with the citizens' housing wants and needs. City of Pittsburgh resident can take the survey, and we are hoping to get as much feedback as possible. In pursuit of this, we're having at least one meeting a week in the community in various locations throughout the city, all the way up until July 31st, which is the end of the 3-month survey period. I encourage all of you, the members of the board, as well as any viewers in the audience, to take the survey and also spread it through your respective networks. The more comprehensive the feedback, the more effectively this money will be able to be used in addressing the city's needs. Please scan the QR codes on screen. The top one is for English and the bottom is for Spanish. The survey only takes about 5 to 10 minutes, and please complete it whenever you have the time to do so. Thank you, and I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Eric. Any questions, comments from the board? All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Our next announcement, really celebration, is for the Own PGH home ownership program, and Alicia Majors is joining us for this one.
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Alicia Majors. I am the home ownership manager for the consumer lending team here at the Urban Redevelopment Authority. I'm excited to be here today to share more great news about our Own PGH program. Since launching in January 2023, Own PGH has provided hope and motivation for many individuals and families who didn't know that homeownership was attainable. If you haven't heard, on April 22nd, 2024, we celebrated a total of 100 home buyers supported through this program with over 5.5 million total in financing provided. That's 100 individuals and families that we were able to get into homes, 100 Pittsburghers with a newfound sense of security, long-term financial stability, and the opportunity to build generational wealth. I'd like to thank Mayor Gainey's administration for allocating Federal American Rescue Plan dollars that allowed us to get this program up and running. The impact has been significant. Of the 100 recipients of Own PGH funds, 75% were women and 60% were African American, showing that when you invest in people who have traditionally faced barriers to home ownership, you can tackle inequities head on and create meaningful paths to change that. Excuse me. You can tackle meaningful inequities head on and create meaningful paths to change that will last for generations. Additionally, I like to note that 46 of the home buyers are new residents of the city of Pittsburgh, which means Pittsburgh has to offer. And when we create affordable homeownership opportunities, this is possible. Thank you again to Mayor Gainey for investing in a livable Pittsburgh, not just in words, but in action. I would be remiss not to extend sincere gratitude to our community banking partners who are the first point of contact for this program. Guiding the home buyers through every step of the process, we couldn't run this program without their dedication, passion, and care for the residents they engage with during their home buying journey. Our deeply valued partners include Joseph Tomaseski from First Commonwealth Bank, Heather Dykeman from SST Bank, Steve Kaminsky from Dollar Bank, and David McGowan from S&T Bank. I'd like to also thank our partner, City of Bridges Community Land Trust, for supporting Own PGH participants with post-closing services. And quickly, I'd like to give a shout out to our own Quality Control and Inspectors Department, led by Corey DeRico. Without them, we would not have been able to keep the Own PGH process moving as smoothly as it has been. And also the HOF team, specifically the Down Payment Closing Cost Assistance Program, which works hand in hand with the Own PGH grants and is administered by Brianna Benjamin. Lastly, I'd like to thank and congratulate my colleague, Rayanne Dreskel, the Own PGH Program Coordinator, for her hard work and dedication to process and close the many applications coming through the door. The momentum continues, and we are now close to closing on our 110th Own PGH grant. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share this amazing news.
Thank you, Alicia. Questions, comments from the board? Go ahead, Sam.
So first of all, congratulations. This is an incredible, momentous achievement. The entire team at the URA that makes this possible should really be celebrating, because it wouldn't happen with all your hard work. We had a union membership meeting a couple weeks ago on a Saturday, and Marianne Driscoll came and made a presentation about Own PGH to about 50, 30 TBJ members. It was a Saturday morning. She didn't have to come and spend her Saturday morning talking to our members about Own PGH, but she did, and she did a phenomenal job. Members had a lot of questions, and I mean, she could have made it a 2-hour meeting and it would not have been boring, and it would have been really engaging. So I just want to thank her publicly for doing that. At the end of her presentation, 4 or 5 individual members stood up one by one to thank the URA for for its assistance in allowing them to achieve homeownership. So we didn't know that we had all these members who were sitting in the meetings, like who had partnered with URA to become homeowners. Some of them recently through OwnPGH, and some of them 10 years ago, one of them 20 years ago through past URA programs. It was a really incredible kind of moving moment, like as one by one people stood up to say thank you. To the testimony to the work that is done here and the way it changes lives. We should certainly thank the administration and council for allocating the resources to run OwnPGH. We should also thank President Biden for having an agenda that actually invests in working people. Without a president who actually believed in investing in working people in our communities, this money wouldn't exist. So I don't know. So it's a great moment to celebrate, and a lot of thanks to go around, and a lot of reasons to be appreciative of good political leadership.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Alicia. I think you said it well, Sam, and Alicia, I don't have really anything to add to Alicia's comments that were eloquently kind of summarized what's happened over the last year. I know it was a heavy lift to just stand this program up. So to be just over a year in, and to see that what the team's done is nothing short of miraculous, and to be commended. I know there was a lot of cake 2 weeks ago to celebrate it. And we blinked and 10 more folks are, buying their first home. So it is really remarkable. I know, Sam, you've said it before at this table with other ARPA investments, but these are generational resources, and investments like OwnPGH are ways to sort of spread that out to ensure that we're making generational impact. So I couldn't be prouder to have a small part that we do at this table in the work that the team is driving every day. So really thank you all for that. Our next announcement and last announcement is the Home ARP Affordable Rental Housing application. And Kiana, our Chief Housing Officer, is doing this one.
Good afternoon, Kiana Wassler, Chief Housing Officer in the Residential Lending and Investments Unit. We are happy to announce that after months of coordination with the city, the URA has received American Rescue Plan funds, thanks again, President Biden, from the city of Pittsburgh to be administered as part of the Federal Home Investment Partnership's American Rescue Plan program, or HOME ARP, to address the need for homeless assistance. This source of funds that the URA has specifically will be used towards acquisition, construction, and rehabilitation of permanent rental housing. The federal regulations for the program require that these funds be used to benefit individuals and families that are within the HUD specified qualifying populations. Those populations include homeless, at risk of homelessness, fleeing or attempting to flee imminent threats of violence, and other federally approved classifications, including those requiring services or housing assistance to prevent homelessness. These Home ARP funds will be used as a source of funds through our existing Rental Gap program. A supplemental application to the Rental Gap program will be required for approval. The information about the Home ARP funding and supplemental application can be found on the URA's website at the link provided on the screen, or www.ura.org, pages, and then Rental Gap program. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Wassler. Any questions or comments from board members? Great. Looking forward to, our first vote is related to this, so I won't say what. Looking forward to seeing applications, because we'll see that soon enough. On today's agenda, we have a full agenda today. Our first items are in residential lending and investments. So we'll be moving into the Rental Gap program, the project Uptown Flats, and David DiBernardo is joining us for this one.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is David DiBernardo. I am a lending analyst in the residential lending department. Today, I am seeking authorization to amend Resolution 395 from 2023 for the rental gap program loan agreement with BH Venture One LP or a related entity to increase the loan amount by so we're looking to increase the loan amount by $1,250,000 for a total new loan amount of $2,500,000 for the construction of Uptown Flats located at 1400 to 1406 Fifth Avenue in the Uptown Bluff neighborhood of Pittsburgh. We are also seeking authorization for a waiver of the rental gap program guidelines to exceed the maximum rental gap program loan amount of $1,250,000. Uptown Flats, you can go to the next. Yeah. Uptown Flats is a 34-unit new construction being developed by a partnership between Bethlehem Haven of Pittsburgh and Action Housing Incorporated. The name of this partnership is BH Venture One LP. 11 of these 34 units will be single resident occupancy units. 16 of these units will be 1 bedroom and 7 will be 2-bedroom units. All 34 units will be affordable. Uptown Flats will provide permanent, deeply affordable housing to individuals with disabilities or at risk of or transitioning out of homelessness. Bethlehem Haven will provide supportive services to the residents to create personalized care plans to provide the specific care that each resident needs. The $1,250,000 rental gap program loan was originally approved in December of 2023. Since that board approval, this project has experienced some additional financial difficulty getting to closing. In that time, a new funding source became available, which was a good fit for this project, and that is Home ARP. So therefore, we are requesting to increase the rental gap program loan by $1,250,000 and also to swap the initial funding from the Housing Opportunity Fund funding to Home ARP. So the end result will be $3,000 of this loan will be home funding and $2,497,000 will be Home ARP. This permanent, affordable housing will create a vital addition to Bethlehem Haven's housing continuum that will allow vulnerable residents to find stability and wellness in their lives. If this funding is approved today, we plan to close on this project by June and complete construction by the second half of 2025. Joining us today via Zoom to discuss the Uptown Flats project are 2 individuals. I'll announce them both and then they can begin to comment. We have the executive director of both the Bethlehem Haven of Pittsburgh and of BH Venture One LP, Annette Fetchko. And we also have the vice president of real estate and development at Action Housing, Lena Andrews. Thank you both for joining us today. And Annette, you can go ahead and begin your comment as soon as you're ready.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Can everybody hear me here?
There's a little.
Can everyone hear me?
We can hear you better now.
Okay, I do apologize. I'm remote because I'm out of the office, but I wanted to take this opportunity first and foremost to thank the URA, who has been a committed partner in not only the discussion regarding our Uptown Flats project today, but also our renovation and preservation project on which Action Housing was a consultant with Bethlehem Haven of Pittsburgh to renovate 34 units for, 28 units for women who, due to their physical and behavioral health disabilities, are unable to live independently in the community. That building is actually co-located to the Uptown Flats project that borders Fifth Avenue and Stevenson. We're here today to really, first of all, thank the URA and to really express the gratitude for being able to continue the mission of Bethlehem Haven in providing a continuum of care for individuals and families who are unstably housed or homeless. This initiative has been a long time in coming. We had a number of really, we would call barriers to overcome. The most significant shuttering of the nuisance bar Aces Deuces at 1400 Fifth Avenue. With the permanent closing and the acquisition of that building, we have been moving steadily forward to complete, as David said, who I give great credit and gratitude to. We've been moving forward to finalize the plans for the Uptown Flats development. I think what is very innovative and unique about the Uptown Flats project is that it is a true partnership between Action Housing, which has very deep and long-standing roots in the development and management of very low-income affordable housing, and the mission of Bethlehem Haven to provide wraparound supportive services to individuals and families experiencing homelessness. Studies have shown that when you can bring two mission-minded organizations like ours together, the ability for individuals to not only remain in housing, but to also thrive in housing is significantly increased. So we're here today to, first of all, thank David, the team, and the URA, and also to move forward with our Uptown Flats project. And with that, I'll stop and ask if there are any questions. David, if you would like Lena to make some comments as well.
Thank you, Annette. Lena, did you want to make any comments?
I think Annette covered it. I just want to reiterate her thanks to the URA. David's been amazing to work with. This is a very long journey that we've been on. I think Bethlehem Haven's been working to make this project a reality for at least 5 years. And now we're very close to closing. So we're thrilled to be a part of this partnership and a part of this project. And yeah, thanks to President Biden for these much needed funds. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lena. Does the board have any questions or comments?
Any questions or comments from board members? I know we've seen this one a few times, but happy to have it before us here today. Certainly hearing the closing timeline of June and how quick you'll be able to deliver these units. I know both as it relates to the conversation on this funding source, as well as to how we can best support the unhoused residents in our city more fully, the urgency of it. But then I would also say having units that are permanent and not temporary is an important piece of that. So thank you both for your work broadly on this project, specifically David, you and the team at the authority for bringing this back to us in order to get it across the finish line. So looking forward to seeing the project close and then be open next year. So that's amazing. If there's no other questions or comments from board members, I'll entertain a motion to approve. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Next item on the agenda is the for sale development program, Hillcrest Street Houses. And I believe, David, you were staying with us for this one.
Yep. Got a double header. All right. So as I've stated, my name is David DiBernardo. I'm a lending analyst in the residential lending department. Today, I'm seeking authorization to enter into a for sale development program grant agreement with Open Hand Ministries or a related entity for an amount not to exceed $300,000 for the construction of the Hillcrest Street houses located in the Garfield neighborhood of Pittsburgh. Next slide. These 3 houses will be 1,859 square feet apiece, 3-bedroom, 3-bath homes. And these homes will be sold affordably to families earning at or below 80% of area median income. These houses will remain affordable for 99 years. Currently, this vacant plot of land on Hillcrest Street is owned by the Pittsburgh Land Bank. The land transfer between the land bank and the Bloomfield Garfield Corporation, who's a partner in this deal, is in the process and has aligned its timeline with the timing of this grant approval, which will complete the capital stack to start the project. With this approval of this grant today, we also expect to close in June 2024. and construction completion is expected in January of 2025. As home prices in the Garfield neighborhood continue to increase, making home ownership unattainable to many of its current residents, this project is a crucial piece of the community development plan to keep Garfield affordable. Joining us virtually today to comment on this project are three individuals from the development team. So I'll introduce them all and then they can take turns commenting. We have the Executive Director of Open Hand Ministries, Wayne Younger. We have the Open Hand Ministries Board Chairwoman, Heather List, and the Executive Director of Bloomfield Garfield Corporation, Rick Swartz. Thank you both guys for joining us today. And Wayne, you may begin your comments as soon as you're ready.
Excellent. Thank you very much for having me. I do want to join the last folks who are on the screen and personally just thank David for his work. He has been a wonderful partner guiding us through this for-sale development program process. I want to thank the URA for making these types of funds available. They are essential for us as we seek to do the kind of development that helps those who are at less than 100% of area median income. Just a little bit of history about Open Hand Ministries. We have been doing affordable home ownership work in the East End for the last 15 years. We have built over 20 homes for residents. And we work personally with the residents of the East End, helping them to reach their financial goals and helping them to get ready to become mortgage ready. So we currently are working in our family development program with residents of Garfield and East Liberty and Larimer to help them get ready for mortgage so that when these houses are built, there will be people who will be ready to step into them as homeowners. We are currently are doing a renovation in Garfield. We see Garfield as a strategic neighborhood that will allow for the East End of Pittsburgh to continue to be racially diverse. With some houses in East Liberty going for over $700,000. We see Garfield as a place where we can work to preserve affordability, and so that is our desire. These three homes will be the beginning of our working as a development as a developer that does work with building from the ground up. We generally, over our history, have done renovations. So these represent our first new builds. We are very excited about it. I also want to take some time just to thank Rick Swartz, who is our partner in development here. He has worked on this project well before Open Hand Ministries knew anything about it. So I'll let Rick take some time and just talk with you and look forward to any questions that you might have.
I really don't have anything to add. I think Wayne summarized it all very eloquently.
This is the first time I've known you to be speechless, Rick. I'm surprised.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kyle, you keep that up and I'll be back at a future board meeting to lecture everybody.
Thank you all. Any questions or comments from board members?
What's the projected sales price?
$200,000.
I thank you all for your work on this. Again, David and the team in our housing department. It's exciting to see a number of different tools in here that have been, conceived of for a while. When we think about, the Housing Opportunity Fund working in tandem with the land bank, in order to drive these things forward with proven nonprofit partners. It really is great to kind of see it all, complementing one another. So appreciate you for being evidence of, I think, what so many of us held in our mind's eye for so long. But also for your patience and having these tools at your disposal to bring forward. So truly you know, it's great to see, and hopefully we'll see some more after you're done with these ones. So if there's no other questions or comments from board members, we'll entertain a motion to approve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you all. Congratulations. Our next item on the agenda, gotta flip my page over, is our rental gap program for Western Manor, and Ben Payton is joining us for this.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon, URA Board member Payton, and I am the manager of the residential lending here at the URA. Today, I'm requesting your approval to rescind a previous board action from 2022, awarding a $500,000 loan to Western Manor Inc. and approve an $860,000 rental gap program loan with AHH Western Manor LLC for the rehabilitation of Western Manor Apartments at 2851 Bedford Avenue in the Bedford Dwellings neighborhood. Western Manor Apartments is a HUD 202 affordable senior housing development. The property has provided housing for very low income residents since 1992. The property is on the grounds of the former tuberculosis hospital and is made up of 32 one-bedroom apartments, all of which are affordable at or below 30 and 50% AMI. Western Manor was formed by a coalition of neighborhood churches and civic organizations. Over the years, the founding members have ceased to exist or declined to be involved in the day-to-day operations. The day-to-day responsibilities have fallen to the Hill Community Development Corporation as the last surviving representative of the owner entity. In 2022, the property was at risk of losing its HUD support for operations and support due to the building failing multiple REAC assessments. At the time, the Hill CDC pursued several paths to secure emergency funding. This included receiving an RGP loan from the URA in 2022 for $500,000 and $300,000 in Housing Opportunity Fund emergency demonstration grant dollars. For numerous reasons, we were never able to close that original loan. In 2023, an agreement was reached to transfer ownership of the property to affiliates of the Allegheny County Housing Authority. The borrower and new owner of the Western Manor will be AAH Western Manor LLC. The entity's sole member is Affordable Housing Holdings, a related entity of Allegheny County Housing. The new borrower will acquire the property through the transfer of physical assets process managed by HUD. This includes the transfer of the property and the transfer of the project rental assistance contract. ACHA is absorbing all the transaction development costs associated with the transfer of the property. Renovations at Western Manor will prioritize health and safety considerations, including the completion of the sprinkler system, HVAC repair and replacement, security systems, upgrades, and interior improvements and exterior improvements. We're excited to finally see this project move forward. The proposed renovations are fundamental to assuring Western Manor can provide safe, secure, and comfortable accommodations, while the new ACH affiliated ownership and management team can work with residents to rebuild the property's reputation. Joining us today to say a few words about the project is Rich Stevenson, who is the CFO, COO at ACHA.
Good afternoon. The Housing Authority, as you can know, this is unique for us as Allegheny County Housing to actually venture into the city of Pittsburgh, but we're very excited about it. Our mission as a housing authority is to preserve and add to affordable housing in Allegheny County, no matter where it is. When we were approached about Western Manor, we were very excited, but we had an opportunity to take a look at the building, see what we were committing to. But the good news is that the HUD multifamily, because we do have extensive experience in Section 8 public housing and so on. So HUD multifamily was willing to end their foreclosure bid if we committed to taking over ownership and management of the property. They are currently going through the transfer of physical assets, which has taken a lot longer than I expected, but that process is going through. But what they have done, they've been able to approve us as the management agent as of May 1st, which is very important. So what we did, we took our Section 8 inspection team in there, because currently right now there's only 6 units occupied of the 32 units. So with the need for affordable housing in Allegheny County and city of Pittsburgh, we have 26 units available that could be brought on very quickly to the house the homeless crisis and other low income. But we went through it with a fine tooth comb with my development team. We didn't do a full blown physical needs, but we did it internally with my experienced development and maintenance staff. They went through everything that would have failed a multifamily inspection. And unfortunately, also in the meantime, there was a water main break because the utilities were turned off in the meantime. In the wintertime, before we were managing it, there was an insurance claim. So between the insurance claim, the physical needs, it was identified that was approximately $1 million what actually would be needed to turn over and get this to the point that HUD would actually engage the contract again, because they shut the contract off that we're not able to even take half down at this point in time. So the URA, thank you, have already committed the $500,000, but even with the $500,000 and a $200 insurance claim, we wouldn't have been able to get to the point where HUD would have released the property. The Housing Authority has already put in, it's not part of the calculation, but roughly $200,000 between paying past vendors, old vendors, legal expenses. We had to do that out of our non-federal funds because we're not permitted to use county federal funds in the city of Pittsburgh. So we have committed funds and spent funds for the property. So we were requesting the increase in the loan to be able to get these units back online and help with the affordability crisis and homeless crisis in the city of Pittsburgh.
Thank you both.
Thanks, Rich.
Nope. Yeah. Any questions or comments from board members?
Just comment. Sorry. Thank you for all involved of trying to figure this one out. It was very complicated, and thank you for stepping forward.
Yeah.
Thank you for your support. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Rich, I remember when you called me when you all were first contemplating this. So I would echo the councilman's or council president's comments. I think even in the way you both described it, this is an incredibly difficult asset and property to bring back online. And the team at ACHA, coming in clear-eyed about that and still kind of sticking through it and willing to drive this forward. Can't thank you enough for stepping up to do that. And our team for sticking with it as well. I know it was touch and go with HUD for a while for all the reasons that you said. So also appreciate their willingness to work with us to make sure that we're able to add those units, not lose the assistance for the city of Pittsburgh, and ensure that even though there's only a few of them left, that those residents there are in housing that's safe and healthy for them. So really thank you all. Any other questions or comments from board members? Seeing none, then I'll entertain a motion to approve. Do we have a second? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Motion carries. Our next item on the agenda is the OWN PGH construction grants, and Ben is sticking with us for this.
Yep. So again, my name is Ben Payton. I'm the manager of the residential lending here at the URA. I think what I'll do is do a brief overview of the OWN PGH construction program, what the funding round brought in, and then we'll go through each of the projects we're awarding, and then we'll turn it over to some of the guests we have in person and on the phone to say a few words. So the URA recently introduced the OWN PGH construction grant as an additional tool to help bring more affordable single-family housing online in the city of Pittsburgh. I'm here today to ask for your approval to enter into OWN PGH construction grant agreements for 5 separate projects. Through the program, developers may access OWN PGH grant funding to finance the new construction and rehabilitation of affordable for-sale housing opportunities. Upon construction completion, developers are required to sell the homes affordably to households whose income is at or below 80% of AMI. Developers will assist potential homebuyers in accessing available URA homeownership programs to help make the property affordable for the home buyer. In February, the URA opened a funding round and requested nonprofit developers to apply for construction grant awards. In response, we received 16 project applications for funding representing over $10 million in grant requests and $20 million in construction costs. Today's slate of projects consists of 5 projects totaling 13 single-family homes across 8 neighborhoods and totaling $82,179 in grant awards. So if you want to go to the next slide. So this is just the general overview here of what I just said about the funding round here. We have 5 projects for a total of 13 units. If you want to go to the next one, please. The first project we're looking at approving is in the next slide. Thanks. Is the Rising Tide Scattered Site project. This is a $1.5 million grant award for the rehabilitation of 7 homes in the East Hills, Hazelwood, Garfield, and Perry Hilltop neighborhoods. The developer is Rising Tide Partners, who owns approximately 190 properties across the region, most of which are in the city. Rising Tide acts as a nonprofit land recycler with real estate expertise in acquisition, stabilization, development, and property management. Rising Tide acquires properties through the direct purchase or through the conservatorship process with a focus on long-term affordability. I'd also just like to point out real quickly that there's an error in the resolution language for this action. The resolution references 2 houses in Garfield listed as being in Ward 9, while 5313 Rosetta is in Ward 10 and 5456 Colombo is in Ward 11. So next slide, please. 845 Hanger Street is a $105,937 OwnPGH grant award to Hilltop Alliance to bring a 1 3-bedroom home in the St. Clair neighborhood back online. Hilltop Alliance has been working closely with the neighborhood and decided on this property as at an ideal corner near the former St. Clair development project. The property aligns with the Hilltop Alliance's and neighborhood's plan to develop affordable housing, and Hilltop Alliance owns land nearby that this project will support future development that they have planned. So next slide, please. 446 Enright Court is a $47,557 OwnPGH award to East Liberty Development, Inc. for the rehabilitation of 1 2-bedroom property in the East Liberty neighborhood. ELDI has rehabbed and sold 16 units in this enclave in the last 6 years, and this will be the 17th unit in this neighborhood ELDI has sold to a low to moderate income family. Next slide, please. Mayflower Street Renewal. This is a $161,127 grant award to ELDI for the rehabilitation of 2 2-bedroom homes in the Larimer neighborhood. ELDI was able to secure significant investments from the Federal Home Loan Bank Affordable Housing Program and the Pennsylvania Housing Affordability and Rehabilitation Enhancement Fund to finance the project. The URA funds are the last funds needed to fill the gap in this project. Next slide. And final one is the Ledley Street Townhomes. This is a $267,588 grant to Amani Christian Community Development Corporation for the new construction of 2 3-bedroom homes in the Hill District. Ledley Street Townhomes are 2 modern, high-efficiency units on vacant land in the heart of the city of Pittsburgh. The project will use modular construction to build the 2 3-story semi-detached units. And I think with that, I will. If it's okay, I'll turn to some folks we have here in the room. So the first person we have joining us today is Joe Wiggenfeld with Rising Tide Partners to talk about the Rising Tide Scattered Site Award. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you all for having us tonight. I guess I want to first thank the URA for their creativity and making these funds with OwnPGH available for the construction side. Really happy to be able to use those funds and start moving our inventory to new home buyers. This is actually the first set of properties that Rising Tide is moving to homeowners. So we're very excited to be starting that, and we anticipate this the beginning of many, many projects. Also want to thank all our community partners, the East Hills Consensus Group, the HOA and Park Hill Drive, Bluefield Garfield Corporation, Fine View Citizens and Perry Hilltop Citizens, and the Hazelwood Initiative. Thank you for supporting us Thank you for your patience, as this has been a long drawn out process from acquisition to stabilization to getting the funding that we need to finally renovate these homes. So yeah, we're just very excited to be here and to get these houses moving. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. And on the line, I believe we have Bill Shimko with the Hilltop Alliance. Bill, you have a few words? I know he was calling in from a conference, so. Okay, sure. We'll go to the next one. So the next two, 446 Enright Court and the Mayflower Street renewal are both being awarded to ELDI. And I believe we have Skip on from ELDI.
Hi, Skip Schwab, ELDI. I had prepared notes to thank everybody, but I'm going to take the lead from Rick Schwartz. And I'm really going to say that home ownership is crucially important. So I do want to say a sincere thank you to the URA and President Biden for making these funds available. Thanks.
Thanks, Skip. And lastly, we have Reverend Lee Walls and Jim Palmer from Amani Christian CDC on the line as well.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having Jim and myself on this wonderful cloudy day in Pittsburgh. We're very grateful for the consideration for the PGH dollars to fit into this project. This is the first opportunity that we will have to bring to the Hill District community modular construction. The modular townhomes here that you see will be constructed within the next 6 months. We are very close to closing on that. But what's most important is there's a critical lack of inventory here in the Hill District, and we have people waiting to move into our community, and hopefully this will be able to offset some of the critical need for home ownership. This is the first of 10 units that we'll be building in the Hill District, both in the Middle Hill and in the Upper Hill. So we're really excited about this kickoff. We have brought other affordable rental projects to you, and we're switching here lanes in the next 2 years to begin this project of reviving home ownership opportunities for persons to move into the Hill District. This is a critical dollar amount for us for this particular project. We're excited about it. We want to thank especially Kiana Wassler and Dave DiBernardo for their assistance in helping us to get this far down the road with this particular project. Jim, would you like to add anything?
I'll just say firstly, thank you all for the consideration. We're chomping at the bit to get this project underway. Our building permit is ready for us to pay for and pick up at the city. We are intending to do financial closing with, assuming our final source, which would be this OwnPGH source, is approved. We are looking to do financial closing within the next month and breaking ground shortly thereafter. So we are chomping at the bit to get this project underway to break ground and deliver these 2 affordable homeownership opportunities to the Hill District before the end of this year.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim. So I think we'll take any questions if the board has any.
Yeah. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah.
And everyone. Any questions or comments from board members? Before we get sort of into any discussion, I do want to note for the record, Director Conley had to hop off. I know she had a commitment at 3 o'clock. She couldn't, she had to acknowledge or go to, so she's no longer here, but the rest of us are still in the meeting. So if there's no other questions or comments, I do want to thank staff for their work on this. I know we started talking about it as an idea for OwnPGH related to ARPA requirements and others a while ago. So the creativity that it took to design the program and then the work that I know to review the applications, get to this point, and the partners that have come to the table. Today is a day that we rendered both Rick Swartz and Skip Schwab speechless. So it's pretty amazing. And I think it's a testament to the work and the projects that we're bringing forward. Really across all these neighborhoods. It's really great to see. So thank you for that, and look forward to seeing these projects move forward and come online. So if there's no other questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? And the motion carries. Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is the homeowner assistance program guideline amendments, and Derek Kendall Morris, I believe, is joining us for this.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Derek Kendall Morris. I'm the manager of consumer lending within the URA's residential and consumer lending department. And I am here today requesting authorization to amend the guidelines for the homeowner assistance program to clarify the documentation that the URA will require and retain for each HAP client that we work with, and also to clarify how often a resident can reapply for this program, and what the assistance that this program provides can be used for. So these are, as you'll remember, guideline amendments that we did present to this body last month, and then we did have a month-long period of public comment to receive any feedback from the community around these changes. We did not receive any public comments related to these guideline amendments, but we would like to present them here again today. Are we good? Okay, great.
Okay, apologies, everyone. We had a technical issue. We're back up now. Go ahead, Derek.
Sure. So we are just presenting these amendments again this month and asking for your authorization to make these changes to the official guidelines for the program. To run through them quickly again, we are changing the guidelines so that if you have used the program previously, you would need to wait 5 years before you could reapply, to allow for other residents who've not had the opportunity to receive assistance to do so. And then we also clarifying, if you are using it for the second time, that you would need to fully participate in the program, and you can't come back additional times just to utilize the grant portion of the program or otherwise. You would need to have enough need in your home to fully utilize the program a second time. And finally, if we can go to the next slide. We are also clarifying that in order to qualify for the program, you do need to be current on all of your real estate taxes or be on a payment plan. Be able to provide us with proof that you're on that payment plan, and then you would be eligible to use the program. And then finally, we are just adding officially to the guidelines the list of documentation that we will be retaining and requiring for every single client that goes through the program, so that we have records and we can track and see what did happen accurately with every single client that goes through the program. So those are the changes that we're requesting authorization for today, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
Thanks, Darren. Any questions or comments from board members? I'll entertain a motion to approve. We have a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're now going to move into development services. Our one item under development services is Studio Volsi, and Leah Matthews is joining us for this.
Hello, everybody. My name is Leah Matthews. I'm a senior project manager in development services, and today I'll be presenting phase 1 of the Studio Volsi Rhythm Square project. First, I'd like to request authorization to rescind Resolution 316/2022, which approved a proposal in form of contract for the sale of Block 10K, lots 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, and Block 10P, lots 121-5, 122, 124, 125, 126, 127, and 128 in the 5th Ward to Studio Volsi LLC or a related entity for $94,500 plus costs. Then in its place, I'd like to request authorization for a proposal, form of contract, final drawings, final evidence of financing, and authorization to execute a deed for the sale of Block 10P, lots 127 and 128, and Block 10R, lots 159 and 162 in the 5th Ward to Studio Volsi LLC or related entity for $94,000 plus cost. We will also be providing some financing for this project, so I'd also like to request authorization to enter into a federal community program funding grant agreement in an amount not to exceed $800,000 with Studio Volsi or a related entity for the construction of the commercial phase of the Rhythm Square development. I'd also like to request authorization to enter into a grant agreement for $500,000 of CDBG 2021 funding with Studio Volsi LLC or a related entity for the same phase of the Rhythm Square development project. The Studio Volsi Rhythm Square project will be a mixed-use development located at 2239 Center Avenue. The project consists of 2 phases. Today, we're focused on phase 1, which is the commercial portion of the project. It will rehabilitate the former Center Supply and Lumber Building warehouse into a mixed-use building with 2 first-floor commercial retail spaces, one of which Studio Volsi will make their new home. And the second floor will have 12 subsidized artist studios. Block 10R lots 159 and 162 are 2 vacant lots that were added to the project to address accessibility concerns at the site. Phase 2, which we will come back to the board to present in the near future, will add 5 units of affordable housing to the site. The total development cost for phase 1 is $3.7 million. I'd also like to mention that this is one of the 7 projects that came out of the Center Avenue RFQ, which aims to revitalize the main commercial corridor of the Hill District. Today I have from Studio Volsi, Alicia Volsi, and Robin Engel to discuss the project and answer any questions that the board may have. Alicia, I think you're up.
Okay. Hello, everyone. First and foremost, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to the URA for granting us this wonderful opportunity. Your unwavering support, creativity, and patience have been pivotal to our project's journey. Your financial backing has not just fueled our ambitions for the project, but has transformed the vision of Rhythm Square from just a blueprint to a promising reality. I also want to thank our dedicated design team and our financial supporters, which includes GBBN Architects, Eros Group, PHFA, Bridgeway Capital, First National Bank, and Neighborhood Allies. Your generosity and diligence have been invaluable. We are thrilled about the transformational impact that Rhythm Square will bring to the Hill District. And I just want to note that this project isn't just another renovation. With the help of our project partners and the URA, this building is being renovated to Passive House standards, which is the world's leading standard in energy efficient construction. So we hope to set a new standard for high performance development in Black and Brown communities and inspire future projects to be diligent in prioritizing both affordability and sustainability. So we thank you for your trust and commitment, and we're excited to embark on this journey together. Happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
Thanks, Alicia. Any questions, comments from board members?
Really,
Council President.
just really excited to see this come to fruition. and congratulate Ms. Folsey for hanging in there. I know it was tough at times, but congratulations on getting to see this come to fruition.
Thank
And thank you for all on the team that has worked hard on this since 2019. So thank you.
Yeah, it's great to see another project on Center Avenue moving forward. So Leah, credit to you and the team, and Alicia, you and your team for your diligence here. I know all of these projects are unique and have their own complexities, and with so much other work going, continuing to drive these forwards is really, I think, a testament to the collective kind of wherewithal and commitment, and diligence, as the council president said, in order to drive these forward and really realize that vision for the future of Center Avenue. So thank you for that. I do also want to make sure that we thank not just President Biden, but our federal delegation. There is a community program funding grant on this. So, and also our former Representative Doyle, who helped to deliver this funding to help drive these projects forward. So it's an important piece, not just on this project, but the other projects as we continue to advance, them individually. So there's no other questions or comments from board members. We'll entertain a motion to approve. We have a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll be moving now into commercial lending and investments. One item under commercial lending, which is our EQ2 with Citizens Bank, and Catherine Murray is joining us for that.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you today. My name is Catherine Murray. I have the privilege of leading our commercial lending unit. I appreciate your thoughtful guidance as we consider entering into a new equity equivalent investment, or EQ2, with Citizens Bank. As you may recall, the URA executed an EQ2 with Citizens Bank in 2021 for $2.5 million for the purpose of investing in minority businesses. The bulk of these funds have been deployed to 6 businesses, including Salem's Market on Center Ave, Valvanera across from the Terminal Building in the Strip, EJ Purpose and One Hope Square in the Hill District, and 2 contractors, Low Country Building Solutions and Concrete Rose, that work on a variety of projects around the city. Pictured here is Ms. Tina Daniels, owner of Concrete Rose, who many of you know, and a women and minority-led construction business. Next slide, please. Citizens has graciously offered the URA to make another EQ2 to continue our lending. This translates into an additional $2 million in capital for business lending. Our intention is to use this for larger deals in our Pittsburgh Business Lending Fund and strong deals in our Minority Business Growth Fund. We offer fixed rates in both programs that are subject to underwriting. Pittsburgh Business Fund deals can go up to $500,000, up to 7.75% interest, and Minority Business Growth Fund deals go up to $100,000 with an average of 5.5% interest. So for our EQ2, just like our current one, the URA will pay interest-only payments to citizens 2 times per year. It will automatically renew every 3 years. If we choose not to renew either EQ2, repayment is restructured over a 5-year period of 20% of the principal balance per each year. And I wanted to highlight an example of our minority business lending. Pictured here is my team, who I just adore, at the Novo Asian Food Hall. If you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend it. It's in our terminal building, and we funded several of the businesses in there combined with Invest Pittsburgh for a total of $795,000 in capital. A lot of these are startups or expansions of current Pittsburgh business restaurants, and it's just really fantastic. Alex Tang, the owner and operator, is there in the middle. Next slide, please. So just to kind of level set and give you an example of why we need more sources of capital, our deal flow is really robust, and it continues to be. And it's because we are able to keep our interest rates so low right now in this market. We're seeing double digits really across the board, and we're able to keep ours below that, several points below that. Our highest we go up to is typically 7.75%. And over the past several years, we've transitioned serving as a gap financer to a primary funder. And we've really renewed our commitment to minority and women business enterprises in particular. We offer financing from $5,000 to $500,000. And since we're able to keep our rates so low, we're able to really be creative and enter into deals with banks and private partners like this with Citizens Bank in particular. Last year, the hardworking commercial lending team underwrote and sought approval for over 100 loans, and over 80% of those loans were to minority and business enterprises. And John gave you a snapshot of where we're at this year. We're already on pace, and we've closed over 30 grants and loans for a total of $1.8 million. 83% of those borrowers are minority or women borrowers. And pictured here are two of our other fabulous businesses. This is Miss Tamia Davis, who runs Davis Family Childcare in Homewood, and Sydney Shaft on the bottom, who is the owner of Soul Refill, which is Pittsburgh's low waste delivery service for home and pantry supplies. It's really a great model. It operates as a milkman model, and you set out your glass jars from your previous order and she picks them up and then refills them with things like laundry detergent or oats or flour. I'm an avid user. I really recommend it as well. So in conclusion, I would just appreciate your consideration to enter into a new EQ2 with Citizens Bank for $2 million. This will allow us to continue to serve business owners throughout the city. And I'm happy to take any questions.
This is great. Thank you, Catherine. Any questions or comments from board members?
Part of my ignorance, I probably should know this. How did this initially come to be? This relationship with Citizens?
This predates my time at the URA. I believe Diamante was responsible for potentially bringing this, but I could defer to Jennifer and Tom on that.
Yes, a few years ago, we met with Citizens along with some other banks, early days of COVID when we were looking for additional investment to pump out. So this was around the time that we also got an investment from PNC Bank. And we ended up using some of these dollars to supersize our ability to put out more money during kind of the COVID period. And the relationships have worked so well that we've looked to continue them.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank my colleague, Rebecca Davidson-Wagner, who really facilitated this opportunity for us again in this year. Ms. Davidson-Wagner leads Invest Pittsburgh, our partner CDFI, and Invest Pittsburgh is going to enter into a $1 million EQ2.
Well, thank you. Many times I've sat here and said, you know, we're sort of filling in the gap that the banking industry doesn't.
Yeah.
And if they're not going to do it, give us the resources so we can. And we're proving that we can and be very successful and beneficial for our community. It may be worthwhile, if we haven't done it in a while, convening all the banks to discuss the EQ2, how successful it's been, and sort of pitch, allow us to deploy the resources, even as we lose our ARPA dollars for our for sale programs. This could be an opportunity for them to say, you all have done it, you know how to do it well. We'll infuse the resources, which is only beneficial to the region, right? To extend our tax base, which is needed.
Absolutely.
So just a thought.
It's an excellent suggestion. Thank you.
Was hoping you'd go there. I thought it was a layup for you in your earlier assignment. So that's great. Thanks for the creativity, Catherine. I mean, you know, to the council president's point, to bring another one of these forward is really tremendous. And, you know, the impact is remarkable when you see it, because I know not all of these have to come before the board for the size of them. So appreciate you sharing, you know, that with us. And I think how we're able to tell those stories, you know, at this table more regularly, always welcome those opportunities. One thing you mentioned earlier was the change where we've historically just been a gap financer to now primary. Can you just speak a little bit more about kind of how that came to be? Is it like within a business's life cycle, or because of changes in banking behavior that kind of drove that?
Yeah, I think it was really interest rate driven in particular. And Jennifer and Tom should definitely jump in here, because I wasn't here during our critical COVID recovery days, but I think we were able to mobilize a lot more quickly than our banking partners did. And we saw a lot of minority businesses being left out of PPP money. And we were able to deploy funds, you know, at a rapid pace. And it was a really all hands on deck situation, is what my understanding was at the time. And I think we really started to deepen our relationships with businesses then. And we're able to look at our sources and say, how can we better serve this population in particular? And then, as you know, interest rates have just been spiking, and we've been able to keep ours low, you know, because of things like this, or we're able to fund out CDBG dollars or other state sources. So our door is frequently knocked on right now by lots of folks, because we can keep our interest rates so low as well. Yeah.
I mean, I can just add to that. Yeah, I think that's right on. I think, when we think about small business lending and sort of the definition of gap, one of the things we found and, Jennifer's leadership, Catherine's leadership, is that the gap is not just financial, sometimes it's access. So there were a number of folks we were seeing who were, worthy entrepreneurs and worthy businesses that needed access to capital. And the gap we were finding is that they doors weren't opening. I don't know how else to say it. So we took as an authority and with the leadership of folks, Jennifer and Catherine really open those doors through programs to provide capital where it just wasn't otherwise being met. And I would also say, just from a size perspective, I mean, candidly, when I was doing this, the average business loan we were making was probably more like minimum $150,000, $180,000, so fairly large loans. So in those particular cases, we're talking about $500,000, $1 million projects, and we're coming in sort of in a gap perspective financially. I think as we start to think about loans that are, when folks need $30,000, $40,000, $20,000, to say go find a bank and we'll come in with $3,000 or something, kind of just didn't make much sense. Like, if we're interested in you as an entrepreneur, we should just invest in you as a primary lender. And I think that evolved our thinking, which then evolved programs, and to complete credit of this team, really expanded upon that to the numbers that Catherine was just described. So that's how at least from my perspective, how we sort of evolved our thinking around gap financing.
Thank you both for that. Any other questions or comments from board members? Entertain a motion to approve. We have a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? The motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item is the consent agenda. If there's any questions or comments from board members on that? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve in its entirety. All those in favor? Any opposed or abstentions? The motion carries. Lastly, for the public's awareness, our disclosure agenda, 3 notices on that. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second? We are adjourned. Thank you all for joining us this month, and we will see you in June. Thank you.